Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay, and with me is Rupender Kaur Chawla with the Midday News. The headlines. Centre asks states with spike in daily new COVID-19 cases to focus on strict and comprehensive surveillance and stringent containment in select districts. Over 1 crore 10 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. 10th round of commander-level talks between India and China to discuss further course of action after disengagement concludes in Moldo on the Chinese side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates BJP National Office Bearers meeting in New Delhi. Puducherry government to face test of strength in Assembly tomorrow. Voting underway in Gujarat for 6 municipal corporations. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman calls upon private sector to be part of India growth story. International Mother Language Day being celebrated today. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu says India's linguistic diversity is the cornerstone of the country's ancient civilization. In Australian Open tennis, top seed Novak Djokovic faces Daniil Medvedev in the men's singles final in a short while from now. And in cricket, Indian team for T20 series against England announced. Wicketkeeper batsman Rishabh Pant returns to the team. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Centre has advised the states that are witnessing spike in daily new COVID-19 cases to refocus on strict and comprehensive surveillance as well as stringent containment in selected districts. The Health Ministry said Maharashtra, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Goa and Chandigarh have weekly positivity rate more than the national average. To contain the spike, Centre has written to the states to increase the proportion of RT-PCR test and subject rapid antigen negative people to mandatory retest by RT-PCR. The states were advised regular monitoring of the mutant strains through testing, followed by genome sequencing as well as monitoring of the emerging cluster of cases.
Meanwhile, in view of the rising COVID-19 cases in the West Vidarbha division of Maharashtra, the district administration has imposed partial lockdown on weekends in Amravati, Akola and Yavatmal districts to contain the spread of virus. More from a Nagpur correspondent.
The daily positivity rate of Akola district is 32%, that of Amravati is 48%, while Yavatmal is of 15%. The district administration of Amravati has imposed night curfew, where all establishments will be closed between 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Akola, Yavatmal and Amravati has also imposed weekend lockdown and issued guidelines for strict compliance of wearing face masks, maintaining hand hygiene and social distancing. Essential services, however, will remain operational in this night and weekend curfew. The marriage functions arranged in these districts will have to follow the rules of respective district administration. The administration is imposing fine on the lawns and marriage halls who are violating the guidelines. All 3 districts have government medical hospitals which are spearheading the task of treating COVID-19 patients. Dhananjay Wankhede for AIR News, Nagpur.
Over 1 crore 10 lakh 85,000 people have been administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. Over 4 lakh 32,000 doses were given in the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said India continues reaching new milestones in terms of administering COVID vaccine doses to a record number of beneficiaries. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 recovery rate in the country has improved to 97.25%. In the last 24 hours, 11,667 people recovered and over 1 crore 6 lakh 89,000 people have recovered so far from the COVID-19 infection. In the last 24 hours, 14,264 new cases were reported. The number of active cases in the country stands at nearly 1,45,000, comprising nearly 1.32% of the total reported cases. 90 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative toll to 1,56,302.
Amid rise in number of cases in Maharashtra, the COVID-19 vaccination drive is gaining momentum in the financial capital Mumbai. The silver lining amidst the pandemic spread is that yesterday Mumbai achieved an astounding 133% of target COVID vaccination in a single day. The city's healthcare and frontline workers received jabs at 28 vaccination centers, which included both government and private hospitals. More from a correspondent.
At a time when Mumbai and Maharashtra is facing a resurgence of COVID-19 cases, the capital city yesterday recorded a remarkable number of vaccinations with nearly 14,000 people getting vaccinated. State Public Health Department informed a total of 13,914 people received vaccination against a target of 10,300. The total number of vaccinated people included 9,470 frontline workers and 4,444 healthcare workers. Maharashtra has so far covered at least 8.9 lakh healthcare and frontline workers, which is 55% of its target. Devapriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
IIT Bombay's researchers have proved that if appropriate social distancing is not maintained, then a COVID-19 infection may probably double up, and hence the use of face mask and maintaining social distance are always advised as important scientific guards against COVID-19. More from a Mumbai correspondent.
IIT Bombay's researcher Professor Amit Agrawal and Professor Rajneesh Bharadwaj have first time quantified the probability of infection for superspreader. As per their research findings, superspreader emits infection more than 3 times as compared to normal persons. The research paper further says that the probability of infection increases by up to 185% if appropriate social distancing is not maintained. Research said the presence of mask drastically reduces the volume of infected air and significantly cuts down the risk of infection to the other person in the room. They also says that coughing into elbow and the use of handkerchiefs can reduce the volume of cough cloud and therefore the chances of dispersion of virus. This research paper will be soon published in a Physics of Fluid journal published by American Institute of Physics. Jeevan Bhavsar, AIR News, Mumbai.
Russia has said that its scientists have detected the first case of transmission of the H5N8 strain of avian flu to humans and alerted the World Health Organization in this regard. In a television interview yesterday, the head of Russia's health watchdog, Rospotrebnadzor, Anna Popova, said that information about the world's first case of transmission of the avian flu H5N8 to humans has already been sent to the World Health Organization. Highly contagious strain H5N8 is lethal for birds, but it has never been reported before to have spread to humans. The 10th round of commander-level talks between India and China concluded in eastern Ladakh at early hours today. The talks between Indian Army and China's People's Liberation Army PLA began at Moldo border outpost on Chinese side yesterday morning. Here's a report from our Leh correspondent.
The Indian delegation is led by GOC of Fire and Fury Lieutenant General PJK Menon, while South Xinjiang Military District Commander Major General Liu Lin led the PLA officials in the talks. The fresh round of talks as per the schedule to discuss the further course of action after disengagement of PLA from Pangangsu to beyond Finger 8. Sources said the marathon talks have discussed the course of disengagement at friction points like Gogra Post, Hot Springs and the strategic Depsang Plains, where the Chinese and Indian troops are still in a face-off. It was decided in earlier rounds of the commander-level talks to withdraw the troops to maintain the status quo ante of pre-April 2020. Apart from the disengagement, considering the ensuing grazing season, the Indian side also initiated a dialogue on allowing regions nomads to their traditional grazing lands. GOC of Fire and Fury Lieutenant General PJK Menon expected to brief the Army headquarters in Delhi on outcome of the talks. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News, Leh.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated a meeting of the BJP's national office bearers at the NDMC Convention Centre, New Delhi. Party's national office bearers, BJP state in charges, state presidents and others are participating in the meeting. Giving details about the meeting, Party General Secretary Arun Singh informed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and BJP President JP Nadda addressed the inaugural session of the meeting. Mr. Singh said that the day-long meeting will also deliberate upon the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, farm laws and forthcoming assembly elections in states. He said the party will also announce various programs that will be undertaken in the near future.
आगामी विधानसभा के कई राज्यों में चुनाव होने वाले हैं, उनकी भी अलग अलग राज्य के रिपोर्टिंग की आज यहाँ पे होगी बैठक में। आत्मनिर्भर भारत के अभियान पर चर्चा भी होगी, कृषि विधेयक पर भी चर्चा होगी। उसी के साथ साथ अलग अलग प्रदेश रिपोर्ट करेंगे, अपना वृत्त निवेदन करेंगे। उसके साथ जो संगठन की रचना और आगामी कार्यक्रमों के बारे में चर्चा और उसकी घोषणा होगी।
In the Union Territory of Puducherry, amid political uncertainty, a floor test will be held tomorrow morning in the Legislative Assembly to ascertain the majority of the ruling Congress-led coalition. More from a Puducherry correspondent.
Puducherry has been plunged into a political crisis following the resignations of Congress MLAs from the Narayanasamy-led government. This has brought down the party's strength to 10, including the Speaker, while its ally DMK has 3 members and 1 independent member in the Legislative Assembly. With the latest development, both the ruling Congress-DMK alliance and AIADMK-BJP alliance have 14 MLAs each. The opposition has demanded a floor test in the House, charging that the Narayanasamy government is already in minority. The Puducherry Lieutenant Governor Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan directed the Chief Minister Narayanasamy to prove his government's majority on the floor on February 22nd, that is tomorrow. Chandra Mohan, Air News, Puducherry.
In Gujarat, voting is underway for 6 municipal corporations. These include Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Surat, Vadodara, Bhavnagar and Jamnagar. Polling began at 7 this morning and will continue till 6 p.m. A total of 47,695 booths have been set up for the polls. According to the State Election Commission, an average of 19.61% voting was recorded in the state till 1 p.m. Highest polling of 28.05% was recorded in Jamnagar, while Ahmedabad recorded 16.41% voting, which is the lowest in the state. Our correspondent reports that Union Home Minister Amit Shah today cast the vote in Naranpura ward of Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. State BJP President C.R. Patil also exercised his right to franchise in Surat. Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, who is undergoing treatment for COVID-19 in Ahmedabad, is expected to cast vote at Rajkot in the evening. In view of the polls, over 43,000 police personnel have been deployed in 6 major cities. Counting of votes will be taken up on Tuesday.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre asks states with spike in daily new COVID-19 cases to focus on strict and comprehensive surveillance and stringent containment in select districts. Over 1 crore 10 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. 10th round of commander-level talks between India and China to discuss further course of action after disengagement concludes in Moldo on Chinese side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates BJP National Office Bearers meeting in New Delhi. Puducherry government to face test of strength in Assembly tomorrow. Voting underway in Gujarat for 6 municipal corporations. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman calls upon private sector to be part of India growth story. International Mother Language Day being celebrated today. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu says India's linguistic diversity is the cornerstone of country's ancient civilization. In Australian Open tennis, top seed Novak Djokovic faces Daniil Medvedev in men's singles final in a short while from now. And in cricket, Indian team for T20 series against England announced. Wicketkeeper batsman Rishabh Pant returns to the team. For quick news update, round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the Midday News. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the 6th meeting of the Governing Council of Niti Aayog yesterday. Speaking at the event, the Prime Minister said the central government has introduced the Production-Linked Incentive PLI scheme for various sectors, thus providing an excellent opportunity to increase manufacturing in the country.
मैं चाहूंगा कि आप इस बात से परिचित हैं कि केंद्र सरकार ने विभिन्न सेक्टर्स के लिए एक पीएलआई स्कीम शुरू की है। ये देश में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बढ़ाने का बेहतरीन अवसर है। राज्यों को भी इस स्कीम का पूरा लाभ लेते हुए अपने यहां ज्यादा से ज्यादा निवेश आकर्षित करना चाहिए। कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स की दरें कम करने का लाभ भी राज्यों ने बढ़ चढ़ करके उठाना चाहिए।
Briefing the media after the meeting, Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Dr. Rajiv Kumar said the 6th meeting of the Governing Council came at a time when the nation is emerging from the challenges posed by COVID-19. He said the forum saw key decision makers charting out a way forward for the country to move ahead. He said the meeting paved the way for intensive and meaningful dialogue to create a consensus-based agenda. The Niti Aayog Vice Chairman said India's fight against COVID-19 has seen a united front which is a perfect example of cooperative federalism, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed the importance of moving forward in the same spirit as Team India. The Governing Council meeting was attended by 26 Chief Ministers, 3 Lieutenant Governors and 2 administrators, apart from Union Ministers who are ex-officio members and special invitees. The meeting was moderated by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has called upon the private sector to be part of India's growth story, aspirations and demands across various sectors. The minister was speaking during her interaction with industry leaders in Bengaluru today. Emphasizing on the importance of the private sector, Ms. Sitharaman said, India has proved its mettle as a soft power by supplying COVID-19 vaccine to 100 countries.
India's growing and aspiring needs, aspiring demands across various sectors cannot be served just by a government. The most important component or input which is required here is the participation of the private sector. Unless the private sector is energized enough, facilitated enough, India is just losing a very big opportunity to be a world leader with that specific India touch, which is more humane, which is more bringing everybody together, which is peaceful, and which actually wishes that the world progresses for everybody's good.
The minister said that the budget presented by her acts like a facilitator for the private sector to energize growth. Saying that the budget has set a path for the coming decade, she added that the government borrowings used for the stimulus package announced by her is aimed at core sectors that will trigger growth of the economy and produce ripple effects across the sectors. The finance minister also highlighted the need to bring in sustained growth and take care of fiscal deficit for the rapid recovery of economy post-pandemic. The interactive meeting with the finance minister was attended by IT Major Wipro head Azim Premji, former Infosys board member Mohandas Pai, cardiologist Devi Shetty, among others.
Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has said it's time to embark on a One Nation, One Standard mission and make India the leader in setting global benchmarks and fixing standards. Reviewing the work of Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS, yesterday, Mr. Goyal, who is also Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution Minister, said no one should feel the need to go abroad to get quality certification. Saying lab testing in India should be of world standards, Mr. Goyal said modern equipments and latest technologies should be used. President Ramnath Kovind today said India's constitutional values of social justice, freedom, equality and fraternity are in line with Guru Ravidas's philosophy of life. The President said this while addressing Shri Guru Ravidas Vishwa Mahapeeth Rashtriya Adhiveshan in New Delhi.
हमारे संविधान में उल्लिखित अनेक नीति निर्देशक तत्व जिन्हें हम डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टेट कहते हैं, उनके बारे में भी गुरु रविदास द्वारा सुझाए गए मार्ग का अनुसरण किया गया है। समान न्याय और निःशुल्क कानूनी सहायता, काम करने की मानवोचित व्यवस्था, श्रमिकों के लिए निर्वाह व मजदूरी, अनुसूचित जातियों, जनजातियों और अन्य दुर्बल वर्गों की शिक्षा व आर्थिक हितों से संबंधित नीति निर्देशक तत्वों में भी श्री गुरु रविदास जी द्वारा प्रसारित आदर्श परिलक्षित होते हैं।
Vice President Venkaiah Naidu today said India's linguistic diversity is the cornerstone of the country's ancient civilization. The Vice President was speaking after inaugurating a webinar on fostering multilingualism for inclusion in education and society on the occasion of International Mother Language Day. Mr. Naidu stressed on the need for usage of mother tongue. The Vice President expressed happiness that this year Ministry of Education, Ministry of Culture and IGNCA are organizing the 4-day virtual event to preserve and promote awareness among the people. He said language links the past with the present and is the depository of collective wisdom. He said mother tongue, which is an important link to socio-cultural identity, needs to be preserved, promoted and propagated. International Mother Language Day has been observed today. In 1999, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, declared 21st of February as International Mother Language Day. The theme for this year is fostering multilingualism for inclusion in education and society. We have a report.
Initiatives to recognize and promote the use and dissemination of mother tongues encourage linguistic diversity and multilingual education and develop awareness and understanding of linguistic and cultural traditions. India has unparalleled linguistic and cultural diversity, and today Matribhasha Divas is being celebrated to promote the use of mother tongues, to highlight the linguistic diversity of the country, to understand and draw attention to the diversity of cultures in India and the consequent forums of literature, craft, performing arts, scripts and other forms of creative expression, and to encourage the learning of languages other than one's own mother tongue. Government has been celebrating Matribhasha Divas along with educational institutions and language institutions to promote linguistic and cultural diversity and multilingualism. Languages are powerful instruments of preserving and developing the tangible and intangible heritage. Anupam Mish, AR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Assam and West Bengal tomorrow. In Assam, the Prime Minister will dedicate important projects of the oil and gas sector to the nation in an event organized at Silapathar in Dhemaji, Assam. He will also lay the foundation stone for engineering colleges during the event. In West Bengal, the Prime Minister will inaugurate several railway projects in Hooghly. The extension of the metro railway from Noapara to Dakshineshwar will also be inaugurated.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today inaugurated the 26th edition of Hunar Haat in New Delhi. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said, Hunar Haat brings together indigenous artisans and craftsmen from across the country. He said this haat is a beautiful exhibition of India's traditional art and craft and, more importantly, country's cultural mosaic. The minister stated that Hunar Haat gives emphasis on vocal for local, which is the basis of self-reliant India. He said Hunar Haat not only gives a common platform to the traditional artisans and craftsmen, but is also an expression of country's rich culture and tradition.
प्रतिभा, क्षमता केवल बड़ी-बड़ी अट्टालिकाओं में नहीं रहती है, बल्कि कला, प्रतिभा और क्षमता गांव, गली और गलियारों में भी कला, प्रतिभा, क्षमता रहती है। मैं कह सकता हूं कि इस प्रकार के आइटम्स देखने को मिले हैं, सचमुच वो बनाने वाले लोग इस प्रकार के हस्तकला, इस प्रकार के क्राफ्ट, हस्तशिल्प, वो सचमुच वो उस्ताद हैं। और इस प्रकार की कलाओं के जो उस्ताद हैं, मैं इन कलाओं का ही उन्हें उस्ताद नहीं मानता हूं, बल्कि सचमुच अपनी किस्मत का भी उन्हें उस्ताद मैं मानता हूं।
The minister added that the haat plays an important role in the national and international branding of arts and crafts of artisans so that they get a fair price for their products. Our correspondent has filed this report.
The Ministry of Minority Affairs is organizing the Hunar Haat on the theme of Vocal for Local. The Hunar Haat will be underway till 1st March. More than 600 artisans and craftsmen from more than 31 states and union territories are participating. Artisans and craftsmen from Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chandigarh, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Jharkhand, West Bengal, among others, are participating for display and sale of their exquisite indigenous handmade products. These products from every corner of the country are available under one roof at Hunar Haat. The visitors can also enjoy traditional delicacies from every region of the country at Bawarchi Khana section. Besides, the people will also enjoy different cultural and musical programs to be presented by renowned artists of the country. People will get a feel of the strength of the country's unity in diversity at the Hunar Haat. With Anand Kumar, Suparna Sekhya, AIR News, Delhi.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
3 steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene.
In tennis, defending champion and world number 1 Novak Djokovic takes on in-form Russian Daniil Medvedev in the summit clash of the men's singles at the Australian Open. The match is underway at the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne. Novak Djokovic will be seeking his 18th Grand Slam title. The Serbian also holds a record of 8 titles at the event and will be looking forward to extend his tally. On the other hand, his opponent Medvedev, who is seeded 4th in the tournament, is on a 20-match winning streak and would give his all to win his first major title. Yesterday, Japan's Naomi Osaka won her 21st match in a row to clinch the women's singles title of the Australian Open for the 4th time. Meanwhile, Croatian-Slovakian duo of Ivan Dodig and Filip Polasek have won the men's doubles title after beating defending champions British-American pair of Joe Salisbury and Rajiv Ram 6-3, 6-4 in the finals. In cricket, India have announced their 2020 international squad against England for the upcoming 5-match series. The 5 games will be held at Ahmedabad from March 12th. Wicketkeeper batsman Rishabh Pant and all-rounder Akshar Patel and pacer Bhuvaneshwar Kumar have returned to the squad. Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav and Rahul Tewatia have earned the Made in India call. Varun Chakravarti, who missed the Australia series due to an injury, has also been named in the team. The 19-member squad include Virat Kohli captain, Rohit Sharma vice captain, KL Rahul, Shikhar Dhawan, Shreyas Iyer, Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant wicketkeeper, Ishan Kishan wicketkeeper, Yuzvendra Chahal, Varun Chakravarti, Akshar Patel, Washington Sundar, Rahul Tewatia, T. Natarajan, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Deepak Chahar, Navdeep Saini and Shardul Thakur. Kuldeep Yadav, Sanju Samson and Manish Pandey have been dropped while pacer Jasprit Bumrah has been rested. Mohammad Shami and Ravindra Jadeja were not included as they are still recovering from injuries they suffered on the Australia tour.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. In national capital Delhi, the minimum temperature was 10 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 28 degrees Celsius. Mumbai is witnessing partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 21 to 35 degrees Celsius. In Chennai, the temperature will vary between 25 and 29 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, the minimum temperature was 20 degrees Celsius, while the upper level is expected to be 26 degrees. In Srinagar, the temperature will hover between 1 and 14 degrees Celsius. Jammu is having mainly clear sky and the minimum temperature was 12 degrees Celsius, while the maximum may touch 23 degrees. Leh is witnessing light snow as the minimum temperature was -3 and the maximum would be 6 degrees. Gilgit is having generally cloudy sky with light rains with minimum temperature 6 and the maximum would be 19 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, temperature will hover between 8 and 22 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, temperature will rise from a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius and will reach a maximum of 27 degrees.
India Toy Fair has been organized virtually from 27th February to 2nd of March. It will include artists from all over the country making unique toys and creations. Many artists and organizations from Madhya Pradesh are also participating in this unique event. A report from our Bhopal correspondent.
In a landmark initiative towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, Government of India presents the India Toy Fair 2021. Kailash Chandra Jaiswal of Indore is also participating in this fair. Kailash has made leather blossoms for over 3 decades. He is very excited about the event.
हम उनकी इस पहल का बहुत स्वागत करते हैं। उम्मीद करते हैं कि आगे भी हम जैसे शिल्पियों को आगे बढ़ाने की भारत सरकार की ओर से, मोदी जी की ओर से कोशिश जारी रहेगी।
With a view to boost local toy manufacturing in the country and improve its global market, this fair will provide opportunities to local toy manufacturers. Rashid Ahmed Khan from Bhopal.
The functioning of the 8 department-related parliamentary standing committees of Rajya Sabha has improved substantially with 15% increase in attendance and more than 16% improvement in the average duration of meetings since their reconstitution in September 2019 over that of the previous 2 years. Appreciating the improved performance, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu urged the chairmen and the members of the 8 committees to endeavour 50% attendance in the meetings of these committees. He also asked them to target a minimum duration of 2.5 hours per meeting, given the efforts and costs involved in holding the meetings. Sources said since September 2017, the 8 committees of Rajya Sabha have held a total of 355 meetings, including 134 in 2017-18, 49 in 2018-19, and 172 since September 2019. These committees are reconstituted in September every year by the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Each committee has 10 members from Rajya Sabha and 21 from the Lok Sabha. Attendance of 11 of the 31 members of each committee constitutes the quorum. The 8 committees of Rajya Sabha clocked average attendance of close to 50% in 172 meetings held since September 2019. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre asks states with spike in daily new COVID-19 cases to focus on strict and comprehensive surveillance and stringent containment in select districts. Over 1 crore 10 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. 10th round of commander-level talks between India and China to discuss further course of action after disengagement concludes in Moldo on Chinese side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates BJP National Office Bearers meeting in New Delhi. Puducherry government to face test of strength in Assembly tomorrow. Voting underway in Gujarat for 6 municipal corporations. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman calls upon private sector to be part of India growth story. International Mother Language Day being celebrated today. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu says India's linguistic diversity is the cornerstone of country's ancient civilization. In Australian Open tennis, the men's singles final between top seed Novak Djokovic and Daniil Medvedev is underway. And in cricket, Indian team for T20 series against England announced wicketkeeper batsman Rishabh Pant returns to the team. And with that we end the midday news.